I need to tell you about the day I died in a volcano, and how that death became the template for the most powerful transformation protocol I've ever discovered. Not metaphorically, not symbolically. I literally experienced death, and consciously chose resurrection. This happened during a deep meditation 3 months after my chrysalis transformation that I shared with you in our last episode. I thought I had completed my metamorphosis, but the universe had one more initiation waiting for me. I was transported, into a vision of a volcano about to erupt. The lava was rising, millions of people in the surrounding region were going to die. And I found myself, along with countless beings I couldn't fully perceive, working to calm the elemental forces of fire and earth. Part of the process required someone to dive directly into the lava, to merge with the volcanic consciousness itself, to convince it to delay the eruption until the people could escape. Without thinking, without calculating the cost, I dove. The moment I hit that molten rock, I felt every cell in my body disintegrate. Complete annihilation. Total dissolution. Death beyond death. But here's what changed everything about how I understand consciousness and transformation. In that moment of complete obliteration, I remained aware. The observer self, the eternal witness, stayed present through the entire death process. And from that space of conscious death, I chose to return. Not because I was pulled back, not because the experience ended, but because I consciously decided to rebuild myself from the quantum field of pure potential. That's when I understood. The Phoenix Protocol isn't just mythology. It's advanced consciousness technology for complete cellular, mental, and spiritual regeneration. Today I'm going to share with you the exact science and sacred process of conscious death and resurrection, because what I learned in that volcanic initiation has become the most powerful transformation tool I've ever used. And if you've been following this journey, if you've gone through your own sacred death and chrysalis transformation, you're ready to learn how to rise from your own ashes whenever life requires complete reinvention. Because here's what nobody tells you about spiritual evolution. Sometimes gentle transformation isn't enough. Sometimes you need to burn everything down to the ground, die completely to who you were, and consciously resurrect as who you're meant to become. This is the Phoenix Protocol, and it will change everything you thought you knew about the limits of human transformation. Let me walk you through the exact phases of conscious death and resurrection, because understanding the process removes the fear and allows you to navigate it with mastery. Phase 1. The call to dissolution. This usually comes when your current life structure has become completely incompatible with your expanding consciousness. You feel like you're suffocating in your own existence. Every relationship, every habit, every way of being feels like a prison. For me, the call came through that volcanic vision, but it can happen through loss of a job, end of a relationship, health crisis, or simply the unbearable feeling that you can't continue living as the person you've been. The key is recognizing this as initiation, not crisis. Phase 2. Voluntary surrender. Most people resist when life calls them to die. They try to hold on to their familiar identity even when it's causing suffering. The Phoenix Protocol requires conscious surrender, actively choosing dissolution. When I dove into that lava, I wasn't being destroyed by circumstances beyond my control. I was consciously choosing complete annihilation because I understood it was necessary for resurrection. This is where most spiritual teachings get it wrong. They talk about surrender as passive acceptance. True Phoenix surrender is active participation in your own death. Phase 3. Witness consciousness activation. Here's the crucial element that transforms destruction into resurrection: maintaining witness awareness through the dissolution process. As my body disintegrated in that volcanic fire, the part of me that observes experience remained completely present. This witness consciousness is what survives death and directs resurrection. You are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your body, not even your personality. You are the awareness that witnesses all of these temporary formations. When you identify with witness consciousness, you can watch your entire identity dissolve without losing yourself. Phase 4. Quantum Field Navigation. In the space between death and resurrection, you exist as pure consciousness in the quantum field of infinite potential. This is where you design your rebirth. During my volcanic dissolution, I found myself in a space of complete possibility. I could have chosen to stay dissolved, to reincarnate as someone completely different, or to resurrect with specific upgrades and capabilities. I chose resurrection with enhanced abilities, expanded awareness, and the capacity to guide others through their own Phoenix protocol. Phase 5. Conscious Reconstruction. Resurrection isn't automatic. You must actively rebuild yourself from the quantum field, choosing which aspects of your previous identity to retain and which new capabilities to integrate. I reconstructed my cellular matrix with upgraded DNA expressions, rewired my nervous system for higher frequency processing, and programmed new beliefs and behaviors aligned with my expanded purpose. The person who emerged from that volcanic death was fundamentally different at every level: biological, psychological, and spiritual. Now let me tell you about the miraculous changes that happened after I mastered the Phoenix Protocol, because this will show you the practical power of conscious death and rebirth. Within 48 hours of my volcanic resurrection, my entire reality had reorganized around my new frequency. People who had been in my life for years suddenly felt like strangers. Not in a negative way, but like we were operating from completely different dimensions of consciousness. Some relationships naturally dissolved, while new people appeared who could match my expanded awareness. My physical health transformed overnight. Chronic issues I'd carried for years simply vanished. My energy levels increased dramatically. Even my physical appearance changed. People commented that I looked years younger and somehow more luminous. But the most profound change was in my relationship with fear and limitation. When you've consciously died and resurrected, nothing in ordinary reality seems threatening anymore. Death becomes a tool rather than something to avoid. I developed what I call Phoenix confidence, the unshakable knowing that no matter what gets destroyed in your life, you can always rise from the ashes stronger than before. This is when my manifestation abilities reached what most people would consider miraculous levels. When you've proven to yourself that you can literally reconstruct reality through consciousness, creating specific outcomes becomes elementary. But here's what I want you to understand. The Phoenix Protocol isn't just for major life transitions. Once you master it, you can apply it to any area that needs transformation. Stuck in a toxic relationship pattern? Phoenix Protocol. Career feels dead and lifeless? Phoenix Protocol. Physical health declining? Phoenix Protocol. Spiritual growth plateaued? Phoenix Protocol. You literally die to the old version of yourself in that area, and consciously resurrect with upgraded capabilities. Before I show you how to begin your own Phoenix Protocol, I want to connect with those of you who are already sensing your own call to death and rebirth. In the comments, share one area of your life where you feel called to complete dissolution and resurrection. Sometimes acknowledging the call to die is the first step toward conscious rebirth. What aspect of your current identity is ready to burn away so something greater can emerge? Now I'm going to give you the practical steps to begin your own Phoenix Protocol, but I need you to understand something first. This isn't a gentle healing technique. This is conscious death and resurrection. Only engage this process if you're truly ready to let everything you think you are burn away. Step 1. Identify your dissolution target. What aspect of your life has become completely incompatible with who you're becoming? This could be your career, a relationship, where you live, how you relate to money, your health patterns. Anything that feels like a prison for your expanding consciousness. Don't choose something minor. Phoenix Protocol is for situations that require complete death and rebirth, not gradual improvement. Step 2. Create sacred death space. Choose a time when you won't be disturbed for at least 2 hours. Turn off all devices. Create an environment that feels ceremonial. Candles, incense, whatever helps you access sacred space. You're about to consciously die. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Step 3. Invoke witness consciousness. Begin with meditation that helps you identify with pure awareness, rather than any aspect of your personality or life situation. Practice observing your thoughts, your emotions, your physical sensations, without being identified with any of them. This witness awareness is what will preserve your consciousness through the dissolution process. Step 4. Voluntary death visualization. Now visualize the aspect of your life you're ready to dissolve. See it completely. Feel all the emotions attached to it. Acknowledge everything it has given you and everything it has cost you. Then, consciously choose its death. Don't resist. Don't try to save parts of it. Let it burn completely in your awareness until nothing remains. You may experience intense emotions, physical sensations, even what feels like actual death. Stay present as the witness. Let everything dissolve. Step 5. Quantum field navigation. In the space of complete dissolution, before you resurrect, spend time in pure consciousness. Feel yourself as unlimited potential, free from all previous conditioning and identity. From this space, consciously design your resurrection. What capabilities do you want to integrate? What beliefs? What ways of being? What version of yourself do you choose to become? Step 6. Conscious reconstruction. Now actively rebuild yourself from the quantum field. Visualize every cell in your body regenerating with new programming. Feel your nervous system rewiring for expanded consciousness. Program new patterns of thought and behavior. Don't just hope for change. Actively construct the version of yourself you're choosing to become. Step 7. Phoenix integration. For the next 48 hours, act as if you are literally a different person. Don't slip back into old patterns. Make decisions from your resurrected identity. Let people respond to your new frequency without explanation. Your entire reality will begin reorganizing to match your Phoenix consciousness. But here's what makes the Phoenix Protocol even more powerful in our current evolutionary moment. We're not just individual phoenixes rising from personal ashes. We're experiencing collective death and resurrection as a species. Everything you see collapsing in our world right now, economic systems, political structures, environmental stability, social institutions, this isn't random destruction. It's collective Phoenix Protocol. Humanity is in the dissolution phase of species-wide transformation. The old paradigms based on separation, scarcity, and limitation are dying so that new structures based on unity, abundance, and expanded consciousness can emerge. Every person who masters individual Phoenix Protocol contributes to the collective resurrection. Your conscious death and rebirth creates a morphic field that makes it easier for others to navigate their own transformation. This is why your personal transformation matters beyond just your individual growth. When you rise from your own ashes with expanded consciousness, you become a living template for collective resurrection. The Phoenix Protocol isn't just personal development, it's evolutionary service to our entire species. Let me tell you about the greatest gift of mastering conscious death and resurrection. Once you've proven to yourself that you can die and return stronger, you develop what I call Phoenix consciousness. Phoenix consciousness means you're no longer attached to any particular version of yourself. You hold all identities lightly, ready to let them dissolve the moment they no longer serve your expansion. This doesn't make you unstable or unreliable. It makes you infinitely adaptable. You become someone who can transform as quickly as consciousness requires, without the trauma that usually accompanies major life changes. I now use Phoenix Protocol regularly, sometimes multiple times per month. Whenever I notice a pattern that's limiting my growth, a belief that's constraining my potential, a way of being that feels too small, I consciously die to it and resurrect at a higher level. This is how you stay current with your own evolution instead of getting trapped in outdated versions of yourself. Phoenix consciousness also gives you incredible compassion for others going through transformation. When someone's life is falling apart, when they're experiencing what looks like breakdown, You recognize it as breakthrough. You can hold space for their dissolution process without trying to save them from it. You become a guide for conscious death and resurrection, helping others navigate their phoenix moments with wisdom instead of fear. But perhaps most importantly, phoenix consciousness eliminates the fear of change. When you know you can consciously die and resurrect whenever necessary, no transformation feels threatening. You welcome the death of old versions of yourself because you trust your ability to rise as something greater. If you felt the call to your own phoenix protocol, if something in your life needs complete death and resurrection rather than gradual healing, I want to support your journey. Share in the comments what you're ready to let burn away, and what you're choosing to resurrect in its place. Remember, every conscious death and rebirth makes it easier for others to navigate their own transformation. Your phoenix journey serves the collective evolution of human consciousness. In our next phase of Elena's Quantum Diaries, we'll be exploring the advanced consciousness technologies that become available after you've mastered death and resurrection. Next week begins our journey into deep activation, third eye development, heart-brain coherence, Kundalini awakening, the sacred technologies of expanded awareness. But these advanced practices require the foundation we've been building, the willingness to die to limited versions of yourself and resurrect as expanded consciousness. The Phoenix Protocol prepares you for activation work by ensuring you have a strong enough identity foundation to handle increased awareness without losing your center. The Phoenix Protocol teaches us the most liberating truth in existence. You are not any of the temporary forms consciousness takes. You are the eternal awareness that can inhabit infinite expressions. When you truly understand this, death becomes creativity rather than ending. Every dissolution becomes an opportunity for conscious redesign. Every crisis becomes initiation into greater capability. The volcanic death I experienced wasn't punishment or random suffering. It was graduation into Phoenix consciousness. It taught me that I am the awareness that can survive any dissolution and direct any resurrection. This same eternal nature exists within you. You are not the limited story you've been telling yourself. You are not the personality that feels trapped by circumstances. You are not the body that appears vulnerable to time and decay. You are the Phoenix consciousness that can burn away everything false and rise as truth. You are the eternal witness that can navigate any death and choose any rebirth. You are the living flame of awareness that can never be extinguished. The Phoenix Protocol is simply remembering who you really are, and exercising your natural ability to transform at will. Welcome to your eternal Phoenix nature. Welcome to conscious mastery of death and resurrection. Welcome to the freedom that comes from knowing you can always rise from your own ashes. This is Elena Davalon, reminding you that every ending is a beginning, every death is a doorway, and every phoenix rises exactly when resurrection serves the highest good. Rise, Phoenix. Rise.